This Liverpool team just will not lose. 20 games unbeaten, no Salah, no Alisson, no Van Dijk, resting so many of the key players. Gravenberch has been one of the best performers this season. Obviously, Kanate is injured, and they still get the result they want. They still win the game. 20 games straight unbeaten for Slot since Nottingham Forest, which is the best they've done since March 1996. And as a Man United fan, it is infuriating. And you see Liverpool today, they're not going with their strongest lineup. Of course, it's Southampton, they're not the best side in the world. They've got Trey Nyoni, Harvey Elliott, Tyler Morton, Kwanzaa, Nallo, Norris, McConnell, Dans, and Rio that they signed from Chelsea, all in the starting 11 or bench today. A very youthful squad. Slot was not afraid to rotate. Endo at centre-back with Kwanzaa, Trey Nyoni and Morton starting, Harvey Elliott getting his first start, I believe, of the season as well. He was brave, Slot, because I saw that starting 11 and I thought, Endo's not in midfield. That's a midfield that's not played together. Kwanzaa's been a bit shaky this season. Maybe Southampton with the manager being sacked and everything could do something. You never know. And I think Southampton made it difficult for Liverpool in the second half. I think Keller had to make a few good saves. But what basically, in my opinion, happened was Arne Slot is probably thinking, we're top of the Champions League, we're top of the Premier League, that is the priorities. He's saying, this Carabao Cup will be a good opportunity to rotate, see a few other players, get minutes in the legs. If we go out, he'll probably be saying, not the end of the world. Obviously wanted to win each game, but he's probably not that fussed about it. He probably said, just no injuries, put in a comfortable performance, get the win. And that's what Liverpool did. They went 2-0 up. I think they took the foot off gas a little bit in second half, thought it was going to be maybe a bit easier, and got the win. So I don't think it was this amazing football we've seen Liverpool play this season, but I think it was like, he rotates the lineup, they still win, they still do the job. And there were so many tactical adaptations with Endo being a centre-back, but then kind of coming into midfield at times and stuff. And it was like really clever because every single game under Arne Slot, he's almost changed tactics depending on the starting 11 or the opposition, and the players are able to apply that. And he'll rotate the 11, he'll drop key players. He's had injuries to Kanate, Trent, Alisson this season already, who are big players. He's adapted. Joe Gomez, Conor Bradley have come through, stepped up. Keller has stepped up. Changed this, changed that. Players like Endo that have not had many minutes in the legs have played out of position and stepped up. Tyler Morton, I thought, did quite well at right back, stepped up. Trey Nyoni comes in, shows his intelligence. That's when you know Slot is a good manager. 20 games unbeaten, can completely rest and rotate the lineup, give youth a chance, and he can still go and win. And you might say, yeah, it's only Southampton, and there'll probably be Liverpool fans that are negative that they didn't win the game 5-6-0. But when I saw that starting a lineup, I thought that was going to be a close game. It wasn't going to be a 5-6-0. You put your strongest lineup out, you probably do beat Southampton 5-0. But it was very much about, different lineup getting rotation in the legs, and Slot still managed it to get the win. And you have the semi-final now. You could go win the Carabao Cup. You're top of the Premier League. You're top of the Champions League. Like, this is hell as a Man United fan because you just don't lose. No Alisson, no Van Dijk, no Gravenberch, no Jones, no Szoboszlai, no Diaz, no Salah. Rested. Tsimikas, Elliott, Jota, Chiesa, Dans getting minutes. Morton, Nyoni also getting minutes. Obviously you're not going to beat your best when there's that many changes. When you've got no Van Dijk, Gravenberch, Salah, Szoboszlai, Diaz, there's obviously not going to be at the best. Chiesa's getting his first minutes of the season. Elliott's getting his first start of the season. Jota's just come back from injury. Tsimikas, I believe, has been injured. Dans is young. And they still win. And what I noticed is every single game that Liverpool play, Arne Slot doesn't do the same thing. He's so unpredictable. Maybe that's what makes Liverpool so good this season, is Arne Slot will adapt his tactics depending on the 11 players that are on the pitch to get the best out of them, to adapt certain roles for certain players, like he's done with Gravenberch in the 6, and he knows how good technically Gravenberch is, and he's made the 6 role work for him. It's incredible, and how we can change the game. And we've seen many times this season, Ipswich, Villa, Brighton, where he'll change the game at half time, and Liverpool come out in the second half a lot better than they did in the first half of that game, and get that win over the line. And that's why he's 20 games unbeaten, and that's why he's doing a top job. And to win with the heavy rotation, Liverpool fans will be negative that they didn't batter Southampton 5-0, but you're top of the Champions League, you're top of the Premier League. Do you know what I do as a Man United fan to be top of the Premier League and be in the Champions League right now? And I thought Endo, Elliott and Morton were my 3 standout players. I think Trey Nyoni also did really well from the game. I thought Liverpool were dominant. But I think when they went 2-0 off, they eased off a bit. I think the second half, Keller had to make important saves. I thought Endo was fantastic at centre-back. I think Kwanzaa looked shaky again. I think Kwanzaa needs a loan. Now, there was a point where Kwanzaa was called up to the Euro squad. He looked really good. Arne Slot was playing on pre-season. It looked like he was going to have a good season. He got subbed in the Ipswich game at half-time. Konate came on, and it's just sort of gone downhill for Kwanzaa. Now, I don't think Kwanzaa's a bad player because I saw him last season. There was a reason he even got the call up for England. But I think when you're that young and you're knocked with confidence, everything's going to go bad for him, and I think that's what it is. I think he needs a loan. I think he needs a loan and a regular run of minutes to get back to his best. I think that's what he needs because the limited minutes, he can't do what Conor Bradley does or Endo does when they don't get minutes for a while, but they can step in and perform. He looks shaky, doesn't he? And I don't think there's a bad player in Kwanzaa. I actually rate him, but I think he needs a loan, and I think Liverpool need to bring in a lot. They lost Matip, let Kwanzaa go out on loan, but bring in a centre back because Konate is injury prone. Gomez and Van Dijk's fine, but bring in a left centre back. That's what Liverpool need to bring in. They need a left back because Robertson is probably the liability in their best starting 11. If we're going to be honest, Kirkes, Robinson, Aït-Nouri could be options there. They probably need a left centre back, and then they probably need a Darwin Nunez replacement, and then you probably want another midfielder that can play DM because I think Endo will go because he's not getting regular minutes to compete with Gravenberch and also allow Gravenberch to play 8. You get those 4 signings, Liverpool, unstoppable. Chiesa started slow, rusty, didn't get a lot of the ball. Then, you go on Twitter and everyone's being negative about Chiesa. It's crazy. I was like, because obviously I'll just sit on Twitter when I'm watching the game and obviously watching multiple games at once. So, I saw bits of the Newcastle game, bits of this game, bits of the Arsenal game. I'm thinking Chiesa's not played in months. He's been injured, and within 10 minutes, I see people online. He's rubbish. I'm like, we live in a world where people would just react in the moment. Like it happens with Man United. Like one of our Bruno Fernandes will drop 10 games in a row where he's been unbelievable, and then they'll have 2 bad games, and then Man United fans will be like, sell Bruno, and I'm like, Bruno's better than 99% of our squad. We've got a lot of players that need to be sold. Maybe Bruno in the future for age and compatibility with the system. And it was like, Chiesa hadn't been given a chance. But I actually thought as he grew into the game, he got better. Little touch, little control, little nutmeg. I think there's elements of Chiesa where he's growing into the game. There's definitely a player there. Obviously, I watched him in Serie A. He's going to need time to adapt to the league and everything, and he needs a run of games, and maybe he'll get that. But yeah, Endo, I think, could probably leave for game time, and maybe Gomez would. But Endo and Gomez are top professionals. Liverpool are very lucky to have them because they're called upon. Centre-back DM for Endo does a job. Gomez, left-back, right-back, centre-back does a job. Probably players that are good enough to get more minutes than they get, and they don't complain and they don't cause problems. I want to talk about Trey Nyoni now. I then want to talk about Morton, and then want to talk about Harvey Elliott, and also want to talk about Endo because I've been waffling for a while. But I thought Trey Nyoni was good, as Ben said here. He made the joint most recoveries 4. He also made 7 passes into the final third, which was the third most for Liverpool, and completed 93% of his passes. You can see why he's so highly rated. What I picked out from Nyoni, not just today, but watching him in pre-season, is he's very technically gifted, but he's a high IQ footballer. For his age, his composure, his ability to make decisions, his comfortability, his IQ, his awareness positionally to receive the ball, pick up the ball, scan and pass is top. But you look at him, he's long-legged, he's an athletic runner that covers ground well, but he can carry the ball aggressively as that number 8. Reminds me a bit of when I watched Gravenberch at Ajax. He's got technical skills, he's got intelligence, he's got the frame, he probably just needs to get a bit physically stronger. And I actually think that it was a faultless performance, and I think he fits into the team really well. If you look at what Gravenberch has and a little bit of Thiago, I think that Trey Nyoni has that. And I think long-term, you can see why Slot values him. He's so young now. I think it would be crazy to think that you can rely on him this season. I think he could come in and play minutes here and there. But I think if you're thinking 3 years down the line, under Arne Slot, what Trey Nyoni possesses is technical strength, so his technical attributes, his everything. There's a player there. Athletic, long-legged runner, but his decision-making is top. And I thought Wataru Endo is, in terms of another player, is intelligence. He might not be the technically best player on the ball. He might not be like Gravenberch that could receive the ball at any angle, back to goal, tight space, and break the lines with ease. But Endo's a very good off-the-ball player, a very good intelligent player, and a very good leader. Today he had 100 touches, 8 out of 8 ground duels won, 4 out of 4 tackles won, 4 recoveries, 4 fouls won, 2 interceptions. Just looking at those stats for Endo, that's absolutely insane stats. But he was sort of centre-back, but sometimes in possession was a centre-mid. And he was just adapting really well. And if you look at his mentality, he was called upon in the game in a centre-back role, wasn't even thrown on in DM. And he showed athleticism, he showed leadership, he showed tactical awareness, he was positionally aware. It was some weird tactics by Slot that sort of worked. and he was versatile. And I think with Endo, you got a player that he came in under Klopp. He was key when he went on a really good run under Klopp. He's versatile. He can adapt to roles, and he's always dependable. A Liverpool call on him. He's not Slot's DM. He doesn't have what Gravenberch has on the ball and build up in what Slot wants. But I feel like maybe when Slot watches that performance and watches also Morton, Slot might think, maybe in the smaller games I can rest Gravenberch more, because obviously there feels like I feel like at Liverpool, if Gravenberch gets injured, there's a big question about who does that role. But maybe he'll think Morton, Endo, maybe he'll be more comfortable to give them a chance. But I thought it was a captain performance from Endo. I thought he was fantastic. And I think, he was absolutely brilliant. And then I thought Morton did well. I think he's a player, because I thought he was like 20, but I Googled him, he's 22, and that would make sense because he was at Hull and had the season in the Championship. But I think he needs more minutes. I think he's too experienced of a player to be getting that little minutes this season. Because I thought he controlled the midfield in the first half and did well at right back. Crucial tackles, crucial blocks. I think some people say man of the match. I think he'd be there, top 4 players on the pitch. But I thought he was positionally very aware, whether it was sort of right back, whether it was midfield. But it's on the ball. I think physically he's improved, probably because of his loan spells, but on the ball, to break lines, to progress the pass, the forward thinking, the scouting, the awareness, he was so composed in set possession, so comfortable in possession, very good in possession. That's what you want. I think he's definitely got the technical skill there. There's definitely a good player there, and I think he'll probably go out back to the Championship or maybe a lower Premier League club on loan or on a permanent if he's not going to get minutes for Liverpool. But I thought he was very, very impressive as well, Tyler Morton. I think Trey Nyoni, in terms of ceiling, because he's like 5 years younger, probably is Liverpool's best youngster in terms of ceilings and long-term fit for slot ball. But I think Morton was impressive, and McConnell does well when he comes on. Dans could be a player. Liverpool have got some top young talents. And then Harvey Elliott, obviously another one of them, definitely better in the 10 role. Didn't look the best off the right to begin with. Got the goal, that's good for confidence, but he's best as a 10, because what Harvey Elliott's best at doing is finding pockets of space between the lines, receiving the ball, and then playing passes to other players in space. He's very good at, if you've got a low block, Harvey Elliott in the 10 is the kind of player that you want if you're trying to break down a low block. He's good at getting between the lines. He also brings that movement to open up play, draw out players, and play those passes. And I thought when he moved into the 10, he looked very, very good. I think he looked confident with the goal. I think that also helped boost his performance. And I think Elliott, Chiesa and Jota are still to be fully integrated into Slot's system. Slot is top of the Champions League. He's top of the Premier League with a game in hand. You're in a semi-final. And you didn't even spend any money in the summer. So that means you've now got a budget for January. And I still think, because I still watch Arsenal play and think Arsenal are right. I think Chelsea are good. I still think Liverpool are brilliant right now. As much as I hate to say that, you're brilliant right now. But I still look at Liverpool and I think you need to get a left back in January. And to be honest, the rest of it depends on injuries. I think if I look at what you need left back's got to be the one you do in January. I think long-term Nunez replacement will come in the summer. I think if you could get Supermende in January, go for that. Left back and centre mid. And then I think you might want to look at a left centre back like a Luka Bar or Schlotterbeck, because I think Kwanzaa on loan, Matip was never replaced. You never replaced Matip and Thiago, so you need a technical midfielder and you need a left centre-back. But I also think Nunez and probably Robertson are the areas that you want to upgrade on. And I just think Liverpool are flying at the moment. It's so annoying. 20 games unbeaten. I see Liverpool fans being negative online. Obviously, it's Twitter, and Twitter's such a small percentage of fans, and Twitter's where the negative people be. But I'm seeing Liverpool fans being negative that Chiesa wasn't good in his first 10 minutes, or that Harvey Elliott wasn't good until he went to the middle. And I'm like, you play Southampton with a weaker lineup, of heavy rotation. You still won the game, despite not being the smoothest game. You still did enough to win. You were still comfortable. You had all these key players rested. You got to see all these youth players play. You're in the Premier League, you're in the Champions League. You're at the top of it. What? I was like, why are people complaining? But look, it is a small percentage of people online. I'm very jealous. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Bye.